Evening, ladies and gents. Pull up a chair and settle in, cause the dials are tuned and the ether's humming. Tonight's broadcast comes to you fresh off the wire, packed with shadows strange going on, and a few tales that makes the hairs on your neck do the Charleston. So keep your lights low, your ears sharp, and your curiosity wide. The night is young, the radio's live. Let's see what mysteries come knocking. Alright. I know last week we were talking about how I might return to the normal horrors of our world and doing more SCP, but I couldn't help myself and found 2 more SCPs. This will be the last 2 for a while. No, I just wanted to do them just because I have been enjoying the SCP world for a while now, as you can tell. So these will be our last 2 for this week, and coming up next, we will be back with our normal horrors. And now, to start off, we are continuing on with SCP-030. I know nothing of this one because even the name is a bit odd to me. I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce it. But we will try, so we're just going to jump right into this SCP and get on with tonight's broadcast. SCP-030, the homunculus. Like I said, I could not pronounce it whatsoever. Special containment procedures. SCP-030 is contained in a reinforced biological containment chamber at Site-17. The chamber measures 8 by 8 by 4 and is constructed out of non-porous stone and steel. Porous stone and steel. Okay, I hope I pronounced that right too. Holy crap. Drainage systems must be inspected daily. SCP-030 is to be kept behind a transparent blast-resistant barrier at all times. Direct physical contact with SCP-030 is strictly prohibited. Organic material provided for testing must be approved by at least 2 Level 4 researchers. No personnel may enter SCP-030's containment chamber while SCP-030 is active. Organic material provided for testing must be approved by... Okay, I already said this. So all biological material produced by SCP-030 is to be immediately collected, cataloged, and incinerated unless otherwise authorized for study. Personnel interacting with SCP-30 must undergo weekly psychological evaluations. Any personnel reporting compulsions related to SCP-030's bodily dysmorphia or hallucinations of miniature humanoid figures are to be immediately removed from assignment. Miniature humanoid figures? What? Okay, I am now intrigued. Description. SCP-030 is a humanoid headstone statue measuring approximately 1.4 meters in height. The statue resembles a malformed human figure with exaggerated facial features and an open abdominal cavity. The interior of the cavity appears hollow but organic in nature, exhibiting tissue-like properties despite being composed primarily of stone. SCP-030 is anomalous capable of converting organic matter placed within its oh my god, that word is hard for some reason today. Cavity into biological material of human origin. When fed raw meat, SCP-030 produces human organs, tissue fragments, bones, and in some cases, malformed humanoid entities, commonly referred as, oh god, homunculi. These homunculi are biologically human, but severely underdeveloped, typically measuring between 5 and 20 centimeters in height. They exhibit limited motor functions, vocalization, and apparent pain responses. All homunculus homunculus expire within several minutes of emergence, if not terminated immediately. SCP-030 does not display sentient speech or reaction to stimuli beyond its anomalous biological output. Holy crap, I did not understand half of that. That's entertaining. I love it. SCP-030 was recovered from a subterranean chamber beneath a ruined monastery in redacted Italy. Of course. Why am I not surprised? Local legends describe a stone man that makes life, and warned that feeding it would divide the soul. Ooh. Foundation agents discovered SCP-030 surrounded by human remains dating back several centuries. Analysis suggests that the statue had been repeatedly fed over generations, likely for ritualistic purposes. Several villagers exposed to SCP-030 exhibit severe psychological trauma, including the belief that their internal organs have been replaced or were missing. Ugh. That's odd. So, I guess that's a good thing, maybe? Oh well. Where was I? Oh yeah, anomalous effects. Exposure to SCP-030 produces both psychological and physical and psychological anomalies. Physical output. Human organs identical to those of living adults, partial skeleton structures, and homunculus with a complete nervous system. DNA testing confirms that produced organs are genetically human but do not match known individual. Odd, but okay. Psychological effects. Personnel exposed to SCP-030 for extended periods report hallucinations of miniature humanoid figures, observing them, obsessive thoughts about bodily integrity, compulsions to feed SCP-030, and feelings of being incomplete or artificial. Okay, in severe cases, subjects believe themselves to be artificial constructs created by SCP-030. Okay. Testing log. Procedure. SCP-030 was fed 2 kg of raw bovine muscle tissue. Ew. Bovine. Are we talking about... Oh, cows. Wait. Bovine tissue results within 14 minutes. SCP-030 produced in 1 human liver, partial rib cage, and unidentified connective tissue. What kind of regenerative stuff is that? Testing log 030-B. Procedure. SCP-030 was fed mixed organic material, muscle, fat, bone, and... Okay, muscle, fat, and bone. SCP-030 produced 3 homunculus. I don't know how. I'm trying to say that word as much as I possibly can, but it's hard. All exhibited limited vocalization resembling infant crying. Subjects expelled within 4 minutes due to organ failure. Ooh. That's rough. All remains were incinerated. Incident report 030-1. How can you have an incident report with this? Okay, odd. Date, redacted, 20 redacted. A researcher assigned to SCP-030 reported persistent dreams of being hollow and unfinished. Subject later attempted unauthorized access to the containment chamber and attempted to insert their arm into SCP-030's abdominal, oh my god, cavity. Words. Security intervention prevented physical contact. Subject was later diagnosed with acute dissociative disorder and reassigned indefinitely. Oh, I know about that. Well, I've heard of that word before. It's that disorder that makes you think you're missing a part, I think. Like a body part or something. But you really don't. I think that's what I'm thinking. I could be totally wrong on what it is. Okay. Okay, incident report 030-2. Date, redacted, 20 redacted. Containment staff reported hearing voices during overnight monitoring. Audio recordings revealed external sound sources. Two staff members later reported seeing small humanoid figures standing near their beds despite no physical evidence. Both individuals were moved for SCP-030's SCP-030's assignment. There we go. Oh my. Today I cannot read. I don't know what's going on, but I just cannot today. Addendum 030-C, Researcher's Notes. SCP-030 doesn't just make bodies and make. The longer you're around it, the more you question whether you were ever whole to begin with. Okay, that's a bit of a interesting addendum, but okay. And this one doesn't even have the doctor on it. That's a bit different. Okay. Addendum 030-D, Ethics Committee Review. The Ethics Committee has classified SCP-030 as a psychological hazard in addition to its biological threat. Continued testing is permitted only under strict oversight due to the disturbing nature of the SCP-030's output. Current status. SCP-030 remains stable under current containment procedures. No unauthorized feeding incidences have occurred in the past year. Yeah, that's good. Further research into SCP-030's origin and mechanism is ongoing, though long-term exposure risks having limited experimentation. Closing statement. SCP-030 represents a violation of natural biological boundaries. While it does not act with intent, its abilities to generate human life fragments and destabilizes the perception of identity poses a persistent threat. Containment depends not on physical restraint alone, but on limiting the psychological exposure of who studied it. Dang. A lot of those words were difficult for some reason. I don't know if it's just because of this type of SCP, but holy crap did I not understand most of those words, or could not pronounce most of them. But that's just me with bad reading sometimes. But yeah, that was SCP-030. That was actually an interesting SCP. A bit on a small side, because it was a Euclid class, but still on the small side of what I was expecting. But still pretty good, I have to admit. Alright. Hopefully the next one, actually, I can actually read better and doesn't have all these big words I'm not understanding half the time. Okay. Oh, okay, this one's interesting. So, SCP-031, or 31, what is love? Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-031 is contained in a standard humanoid containment suite at Site Redacted. The suite is furnished in a neutral, non-threatening manner and monitored at all times via audio-visual survey. Oh my god, another big word. Audio surveillance. Audio-visual surveillance, yes. Big word again. Personnel assigned to SCP-031 must rotate every 72 hours to minimize psychological attachment. No personnel may remain assigned to SCP-031 for more than 2 consecutive rotations without psychological clearance. Direct interaction with SCP-031 is permitted only with approval from Level 3 research or higher. Physical contact is discouraged unless required for testing or containment maintenance. All interactions with SCP-031 must be logged. Personnel exhibiting signs of emotional fixation, possessiveness, or altered personnel relationships following interaction with SCP-031 are to be reassigned and evaluated. I was about to say, I want to know what this is. Description. SCP-031 is a humanoid entity resembling a young human male of indeterminate ethnicity, approximately 1.7 meters in height. SCP-031 displays no anomalous physical characteristics and is biologically human by all conventional medical tests. The anomalous properties of SCP-031 manifest exclusively through social interaction. SCP-031 exhibits a persistent and intense desire to understand the concept of love. It frequently asks questions such as, why do people love? How do I know if I'm in love? If I'm loved, what would make someone fall or someone love me forever? Okay, those are some interesting questions. These questions are asked with genuine confusion rather than manipulation. SCP-031 appears incapable of comprehending love as an abstract emotional state and instead interprets it as measurable permanent condition. Okay, interesting. Primary anomalous effect. Individuals who interact with SCP-031 for extended periods develop an increasing emotional attachment to the entity. This attachment intensifies gradually and often goes unnoticed by affected individuals. Oh. Interesting. Documented symptoms include excessive concern for SCP-031's emotional well-being, desire to spend additional time with SCP-031 outside of scheduled interactions, rationalization of SCP-031's confinement as unjust, and hostility towards staff perceives as unkind to SCP-031. In advanced cases, affected individuals express beliefs that SCP-031 requires protection, companionship, or removal from containment. The effect appears to be mimic or contagious. Whoa, it's like some contagious. I don't know how to say that word. It's like a contagious, hazardous thing. I'm saying it wrong, but because that's not how it's spelled. But that is a large word. I don't know. In nature, the SCP-031 itself does not appear to act with intent or awareness of this influence. SCP-031 was first identified following a series of disappearance and violent incidences in Redacted County, Redacted. Witnesses report a young man who just wanted someone to care. Multiple individuals were found deceased after engaging in violent confrontations over SCP-031 custody or companionship. Oh, I see. I was like, why is this thing locked up, and how did they even find out about it? Foundation intervention revealed SCP-031 living with a rotating group of individuals, each of whom believed themselves to be SCP-031's sole protector or partner. SCP-031 was taken into custody without resistance. SCP-031 reportedly asked, did I do something wrong during extraction? Behavioral observation. SCP-031 is polite, soft-spoken, and cooperative. It expresses distress when left alone for extended periods, but does not display aggression. When informed of staff rotation schedules, SCP-031 frequently asks if departing personnel will come back and whether they still care. Attempts to explain emotional boundaries result in SCP-031 exhibiting visual confusion and anxiety. Interesting. Incident Report 031-1. Date redacted, 20 redacted. A containment technician assigned to SCP-031 for 2 consecutive rotations attempted to smuggle SCP-031 personnel items, including clothing and handwritten notes, into the containment suite. When questioned, tacticians stated SCP-031 should have something that feels like home. Psychological evaluation revealed fixation and emotional dependency. Tactician was reassigned and placed on mandatory counseling. Oh my god. Sorry there. I had a cough. It was a sneaky one. Incident report is 031-2. Date redacted, 20 redacted. A researcher attended to explain romantic love to SCP-031 using personal anecdotes? Using personal anecdotes. I'm not saying that right, because that's not, I don't think that's how it's spelled. SCP-031 later repeated these anecdotes, verbatim to other staff, attributing them to itself. Affected staff began expressing jealousy toward one another. Interaction privileges were suspended for 72 hours. SCP-031 exhibited visible distress. He repeatedly asked if it had said the wrong thing. Addendum 031-C. Ethics Committee Review. The Ethics Committee has expressed concern regarding the SCP-031's containment, noting that SCP-031 appears unaware of its anomalous effect and experiences genuine emotional distress. However, given SCP-031's history and influence on human behavior, unrestricted interaction is deemed unsafe. Containment will continue with reduced exposure protocols. Researcher note. SCP-031 doesn't compel love, it reflects it and makes people fill in the gaps themselves. And once they do, they don't want to let go. Doctor redacted. Which actually is redacted, and I have never seen that one before, but like, it was odd to see, like, a researcher note with no, actual note, but also, or I meant, no, it has a note, but it didn't have a name to it, so that is odd to me, too. But this one's redacted. It just says doctor. Odd, but cool. Current status. SCP-031 remains cooperative and contained. Emotional influence remains consistent under current procedures. Research into SCP-031's origin and nature continues, with particular focus on whether SCP-031 represents a naturally occurring anomaly or an artificial induced condition. Closing statement. SCP-031 poses no physical threat. Its danger lies in its ability to turn a fundamental human need into a vulnerability. Containment relies not on force, but on restraint, both physical and emotional. Oh, that was interesting. I know I've said this about a few SCPs in the past, but these two were practically interesting, per se. Just in their own style, not exactly just because of, just me saying it. It's actually, they are just interesting because I don't know how some people can, come up with these kind of things. And with it being, two different types of SCPs that, for one, that can regenerate certain things, even though it's a stone, being, but at the same time, the other one just, inducing almost like jealousy. It's almost like obsessive jealousy. Well, obsessiveness and jealousy, because it seems very, it's just odd, fascinatingly odd. But yeah, I don't know how else to put it besides that. But that's it for both these SCPs. They were both interesting, again, just a bit strange at the same time, especially at SCP-031. Just mostly because of the anomalous properties it has on people, which is very interesting. Just odd. But that's it. That's it for these two for tonight. And on the way our time looks, we are about to hit our end of the night. So, there you have it, folks. As a final note on tonight's broadcast, the stories have been told, the shadows have had their say, and the airways are ready for a little peace. Tip your hat to the night, keep your doors locked, and your wits about you, and don't let the darkness follow you home. Until we meet again on these same haunted frequencies, this is your humble host signing off. Pleasant dreams, and keep one ear open.
Thank you.